Every Thursday night, you ask the questions, DT gives you his answers. No holds barred.
It's Q&A with Don Tony. This is your chance to speak your mind and be heard about anything.
Q&A with Don Tony. And now, your host, Don Tony. Don Tony. Don Tony. Don Tony.
All right. We are live. It is Thursday night, 4/21, April 21st, 2022. Good evening, everyone. Q&A with yours truly. Tonight, we have some wrestling news to discuss, some AEW heavy news. I know a lot of you want my opinions as far as the latest huge announcement and a few other things that went down. Before anything, big shout out to Nero Faye, because the other day I completely, because everything that went down Monday was a little bit taking me by surprise. So he wished everybody a good morning on Monday. Maybe a little premature for some of us in the United States, but I wanted to shout out Nero Faye and Eddie. You know, look. Much love to Eddie. You know, let me just open up with something and think about Eddie K, who you know as Xylot Themes. If any of you out there watch Raw and watch SmackDown and you see nice screenshots during the shows and you want to steal those screenshots, every time I try to take one, Xylot Themes is stamped on the top. I'm like, damn, I can't keep it for myself. Nah, the guy works his ass off. But if you notice yesterday on Dynamite, there were no screenshots posted from Xylot Themes during Dynamite. And there's a good reason behind it. He was actually there. And let me tell you something. After what went down, not only Monday, but Tuesday, where I was really hoping to have, you know, a podcast with another person on with me who absolutely refused to come on. You know, hey, it's over, it's done with, as they say in Goodfellas, and that's that. But, you know, look, Tuesday, I had to go in for a procedure. You all, if you're a regular listener or viewer, you know that I already have been diagnosed with problems with my prostate. I am this close. I'm like right on the borderline of cancer, runs in the family. And yesterday I had to get Tuesday, stuff scraped out again. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, it was yesterday. What am I saying? You know why it feels like the day before? Because last night I slept. I fell asleep around 7 o'clock. So I missed Dynamite live. I woke up around 11. So it felt like the next day. So last night around 11 p.m., I said, you know what, let me watch Dynamite on the replay. And not even 5 minutes into the show, right smack center camera, there is Eddie shouting out yours truly. Huge Don Tony sign, center camera. Of course, the haters are like, why is this guy get support? Why does this guy have such a huge following? Well, you know what? Because everybody here is family. Eddie is family. Everybody who tunes in is family. And I want to thank everybody, seriously, for all of your support. You know, you guys gave me new life 2 years ago. After doing it for so many years, I didn't want to do it just to do it. And, you know, doing the video extension, you know, I had a couple of wise asses the last couple of days. Hey, DT, you only get 2, 3, maybe 400 live viewers on YouTube. You might get an extra 200 on Twitter or somewhere else, but you know, all these other places get 1,000, 2,000. Does anybody in their right mind think that I landed the deal with BlueWire and landed the deal with Playback, and then the next announcement that's coming very soon, I don't want to jump the gun. Do you think that I landed those deals based on 200 live viewers? When I say 90% of my audience still accesses audio only, they don't need to see my face. If I show something that they're interested in looking at, they will go check out the video later on and they go see it for themselves. You know, YouTube is not where everything happens and it's YouTube or nothing. It is something, it's a challenge. Sure, I'd love to build on it, but it's not the be all end all. So to see that, that's awesome. And look, with the audio, if I was still doing audio only, I would not be able to show you things like that. I would not be able to show you other things that we're going to get into. And I have an announcement tonight that I think old school hotline, well, not even hotline, old school podcast fans of yours truly and a certain other co-host, I think you will like it. I am having coffee tonight because my sleep pattern is all screwed up now. Did not get much sleep on Monday, didn't get much sleep on Tuesday. Yesterday, like I said, I slept from 7 to 11, and then I conked out again around 2 a.m. So I will be answering questions from my great channel members here on YouTube. Now, if you notice tonight, I opened the chat room to everyone because I know a lot of you out there do want to chat with each other, especially with what went down on Monday, and that's not going to be a topic of conversation here anymore. All I ask is everyone be nice. You know, you don't have to insult other hosts, other podcasters. You know, what went down. And, you know, when I say full steam ahead, keep doing what we're doing, you know, it's not to throw slight on anyone. And I really mean that. And just to show you, you know, I'll throw it out there right now. But I will tell you, I will probably have to show this announcement again halfway through the show for anybody who tunes in late tonight. This is something that I have been discussing behind the scenes for a little while. So I don't want anybody to think that this just got thrown out there so convenient after everything that went down. But before I contacted another individual to make sure he wanted to be part of it, I had to make sure that the person, the man of the hour, the man that's, is he too sweet to be sour? He's too crazy, methodically crazy to be, forget it. I'm going to go there and it's going to come out corny. All right, here's the fucking announcement. For all of you old school fans of the Don Tony and Kevin Castle show, for one night only in June, it is coming back. Podcast Forbidden Door 3. But there is something else. There is something else. I know some of you already know. When I say Podcast Forbidden Door 3, I originally was going to write online earlier that I get the WrestleMania 3 vibes. You know, WrestleMania 1 was historic. WrestleMania 2 was great. But WrestleMania 3 was the epic of the three. And I wanted to write that early, but I'm like, I don't want Jason Solomonster or Joe Cronin to get insulted by that because, you know, they were the first two members of the Forbidden Door to go through. But that night in June, we haven't picked the date yet, but that night in June, when we have a Don Tony and Kevin Castle show podcast again, we will be joined by a third member. And that third member, I think I could say I killed it. I think I killed it. Killer Kross will be joining DTKC. And all of the conversations back in the day, you're going to hear a lot of old school shit. You're going to hear probably a conversation that have nothing to do with wrestling. So that will be happening in June. Right now, Killer Kross is on his honeymoon. Yes, he's on his honeymoon. He and Scarlett. A lot of people didn't know her real name was Elizabeth. But, you know, since he made that public, you know, didn't I say it, but they eloped. They got married. I think it was in Alaska. All I know is I saw icebergs and snow, and it was beautiful. And they're married. They're on their honeymoon. So just think, he's on his honeymoon, and he's like, DT, go ahead. Tell everybody. Start hyping that shit up. If you look on Twitter, he wrote, he's like, just do it, man. Just do it. So listen, I'm not saying this for clout, but for those that don't know, Killer Kross was a longtime fan of the DTKC show before he ever got into wrestling. And he goes back with us a long time. And it is awesome that whenever anybody brings us up to him, he has nothing but awesome things to say. And you know what's awesome about him as well? You know, and I've said it before, that we have people in wrestling that really support us. I mean, bigger names than you expect. I mean, a Hall of Famer, WWE Hall of Famer used to be one of our Patreons, and that's no joke. But, you know, we get DMs. I mean, I get them. Mish gets them. I know Kevin gets them too. We get DMs from people, you know, pretty famous. And they're like, brother, keep doing what you're doing. Eye on the prize. One person in particular, he keeps saying, ever since I went to YouTube, eye on the prize, eye on the prize, eye on the prize. And they'll show support. 9 times out of 10, though, just do me a favor and don't say it public. I don't need to deal with trolls and bullshit online, you know, simply because I support what you do. Because, you know, the haters have to paint a certain narrative about me. You have to paint a certain narrative about Mish or Kevin or anybody else. So they'd rather do it incognito. You know, Brian Clark, Adam Baum, you know, I can't believe how much he publicly supports what I do. The guy is incredible. He's a really, 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 really good man. But, you know, Kross is one of those, you know, that will throw our names out there after all these years, like, check them out. So that's coming in June. Now, before we start getting into questions, we got to get some news tidbits out of the way. AEW Dynamite yesterday. I want to make this disclaimer right at the beginning. 85 to 90% of what I say tonight about AEW is extremely positive. You know, I'm no bot. I am very fair with what I say about AEW. There's going to be a little bit of criticism, but it's going to be mostly positive. My main criticism is this. For a week, we have had advertised huge announcement. Tony Khan, huge announcement. Now, on the heels of Satnam Singh, the lights going off and the lights coming back on, sure, they kind of like repaired a little bit of it at Battle of the Belts, but they did not do a good job repairing that at all. Because what? Oh, he's fucking with Jonathan Gresham? You know, no disrespect, everyone. And like I said, 90% of what I say tonight is positive. I want to show you something Brandon Thurston put out there. You know, this is the ratings breakdown for Battle of the Belts. All right. And if you look, I mean, once Gresham came out there to defend his championship, I mean, that 488, guys, gals, is a lot lower than that for his match because Guevara versus Scorpio Sky was still in the 500s when quarter 2 started. Once their match was over and they brought Dalton Castle versus Jonathan Gresham out there, those numbers nosedived. And it started to recover because they had the Samoa Joe angle repeated, a little bit of Singh in the third quarter. But the point is this, and look, it's going to take a lot of repair. No question. This is not on AEW. But again, everybody thinks of the history, the legacy of Ring of Honor. You think of the last 5-10 years. A lot of the current Ring of Honor champions were there, you know, before everything pretty much shut down. And they did their final battle and everybody believed everything was over. They look at the attendance. You know, Ring of Honor drew GOTS on TV for years and years and years and years and years. And this is with, you know, a lot of very intelligent people at the regime. This is with a lot of very talented wrestlers. See, a lot of people don't go back when they were on TV. You don't go back and look at the TV results and you'd be like, oh my God, look at how many people that were wrestling there that are on Impact and AEW now. And they look at the numbers they were drawing. Because Ring of Honor was always more of a developmental, you know, to lead to Impact or WWE and now AEW. And to force the Ring of Honor narrative on AEW, sure, Tony Khan's putting money into it. He's putting a lot of hard work into it. There's a lot of great wrestlers that are part of it. But you can't just immediately, because look, I remember in 95 when we started seeing Smoky Mountain Wrestling stuff on WWF and the NWA Championship on WWF TV. And you see, you know, and nobody cared. Nobody gave a shit. But that product was being presented to a much bigger audience. And even with that, the fans just did. So you can't, just because Ring of Honor is now shown in some form on Dynamite or Battle of the Belts or Rampage or whatever you want to do, that doesn't mean that, oh, Ring of Honor, look, now it gets 500,000 viewers. Ring of Honor, look, the quarter hour that their segment did a 900,000. Evo General, welcome to the family. And Ian Sarami, I hope I pronounced your name right. Welcome to the family. I know you subscribed right before we went live. I wanted to say hello. So you can't just immediately take that, and because it's part of the show and you turn around and say, well, they got 900,000 viewers. That's not the way it works. And listen, for everybody out there for the last 24 hours that showed me Brandon Thurston's productivity spreadsheet of AEW compared to 2 years from ago, and if there's growth, of course there is growth. AEW is doing a spectacular job growing year by year. There's nobody denying that. Stupid people with 5 followers say that, and then everybody jumps on it so they come off as geniuses. You get some dumb schmuck. And that's not like a Japanese mock. It's just some idiot, okay, that writes online, AEW failing. It's going to be out of business in 3 years. You look at the person's like, and everybody will take that quote, wrestle cringe, and everybody else will plaster it everywhere as if that person is like a tremendous journalist writing for Sports Kita or Sports Illustrated or, come on, you're taking a dumb schmuck, a random idiot, maybe a bot, a troll, and you're putting credence in that stuff. And then everybody comes off and tries to be intelligent. Oh, well, this is why this person is stupid. And they show all these grids. You know what's absent on Brandon Thurston's grid? You know what's absent? How much money is Tony Khan spending from 2 years ago? I could have a fucking restaurant with $1 million in sales now, and last year was 600,000 in sales, and I'm getting tons and tons of growth. But I could be overspending for everything. Instead of going to a farmer's market and buying a gigantic 10-gallon jug of pickles, I go to a grocery store and I buy tiny little jars that are 5 times the price. And then I take the little jars and I put them in a big bucket because I'm stupid. You know, my overhead might be fine. Look at all the people that he has signed. That's absent because that information is not available. Of course it's growth. This is the Dixie Carter cash flow positive all over again. When Dixie Carter got away with that remark and that schmuck, no disrespect to who it is, even if I'm friends with the person now, that schmuck doesn't say to her, wait a minute, just because you have some money in the bank doesn't mean that you have hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars in debt. Cash flow positive has none of, where's expenditure? You could show me growth. But where's the amount of money that's being put out? You know, you look at a year ago, and if they were doing, let's say, 200,000 at a pay-per-view, 200,000. When you look at the wrestlers that were involved, because the salaries were so low, you might have made more money. But now, we made $1 million at the gate, but you spent $2 million in salary. So when you put those numbers out there, that's great and everything, but you notice not one person online said, hey, Brandon, you know, this is growth, obviously, but at what cost? How much is Tony Khan losing to get that? How much is he losing? How much money is he laying out to get that growth? Nobody says it. Nobody answers that. So, for a week, this is the last criticism. For a week, we had the hype. What is the announcement going to be? I think the three most popular ideas was a Ring of Honor New Japan Super Show, trios title, and somebody came out and it actually got a lot of momentum. Maybe Ring of Honor getting TV. Those were the three I think that pretty much were floating around, and we'll get into the announcement in a moment because I have nothing but good to say about that announcement. But did it equate in the ratings? The ratings for this week from Dynamite, boom, boom, boom. 930,000. Lower than last week's 977. With all of that hype, the coffin match and everything else, they're stuck between 900,000 and 1 million. They added Jeff Hardy. They've added, a few others, and they still are at that $900 to $1 million rating for quite some time now. And they keep adding people, and they keep adding people, and they keep don't give me this NBA playoff shit. Don't give me that NBA playoff shit. Because again, I'm going to prepare it, and I will have it ready for next week. When you look at the grid, and you start from the night that CM Punk debuted on Dynamite, not Rampage, but Dynamite, you see that number, and then you see this. You see that. Again, you could turn around and you could show growth, but at what cost? How many extra tens of millions of dollars do you have to dump out there to get that kind of growth? So after all of that, and if you're going to use the NBA playoffs, last year was the NBA playoffs. Last year's rating was higher than this one. Last year's rating did not have CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, William Regal, Adam Cole, Keith Lee. Why am I doing this with my head? You start figuring out from last night how many people were not there a year ago. The rating was higher. Let me translate for the 100,000th time that I've been saying this since 1997. The rating went down. So what that says is that Tony Khan, 50,000 of your AEW fans from last week felt that watching basketball was more important than watching your announcement, than watching a coffin match, when watching all the people that you recently signed. They still felt basketball was more important. If you want to blame it on NBA, how does that feel? Diehard AEW hardcore wrestling fans still said, nah, I'm going to watch me some hoops. How does that feel? No excuse, everyone. Bullshit. Anybody that does that, bullshit. Whatever date that CM Punk debuted on Dynamite, I can't wait. I can't wait to see that year anniversary. And then they start comparing the ratings from a year earlier. And then you're going to start seeing what I'm talking about. Because very few people bother to pay attention to that because they just gush. All right. Now, I want to we'll finish up the news, then I'll start doing questions. And like I said, thank you. New York, number one. New York, number one. Everything else, okay. Couple other news tidbits and we'll get out of here. Let's throw this forbidden door. Let's open it up very, very quickly. Listen, I'm not spending more than 5 minutes on this. I am going to give you the very down-to-earth Cliff Notes reaction to the announcement that AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling are going to be doing a joint event on June 26th in Chicago, Illinois, at the United Center. It is going to be a super show. And I saw all different reactions online. I saw people saying this is no big deal. I saw people saying this is AEW catering to their hardcore fans. All right. And I'm going to summarize it like this. I was a hardcore ECW fan. It's no secret. When we thought that ECW was going to have a super show with FMW in 1997, we all marked the fuck out. Did non-ECW fans start talking about it? No. Was it designed for the ECW fans to get that FMW fantasy matches also? Absolutely. But it was also going to give FMW a little bit of exposure in the United States. It was going to give ECW a little exposure in Japan. It is no secret that New Japan Pro Wrestling wants a much larger footprint in the United States. So what this event does is it caters to the current AEW fan that is a fan of New Japan. Remember when CM Punk says, this is a quote that everybody tries to bury. Remember when CM Punk said, no, there is no casual wrestling fan that fell out of love of wrestling that's just sitting on the sidelines waiting to come back. Tony Khan, his press release announcing Rampage was the complete opposite. We want to get that wrestling fan who fell out of love of wrestling. We want to bring him back. CM Punk last year, November 2021, look it up, said there is no casual fan. Remember when I said that AEW fans were probably already Ring of Honor fans? So there may not necessarily be growth because New Japan is going to be in the house. But for Japanese wrestling fans overseas who love New Japan, now they get to see their favorites fight wrestlers from AEW. For AEW fans in the United States, they get to see fantasy matches against New Japan. New Japan gets more exposure in the United States. AEW gets more exposure in Japan. Anybody remember this? It's a video game from the 90s, WCW versus the World. Was the video game all that great? Probably not. Probably not. But if you've never played that video game, all right, I took a couple of things from Wiki, all right? But to summarize, it's basically WCW wrestlers taking on international wrestlers. Now, because they didn't have the rights to use the wrestlers, Japanese wrestlers overseas, because they didn't have the rights to use their names or didn't want to pay it, they had to use fictitious names. And if you ever pick up this game or if you go online and you play it with an emulator, which I'm sure there is one, some of the wrestlers from Japan that were in that game, I will tell you the name of the wrestler and I'll tell you their character name in the game because like Jushin Thunder Liger, they couldn't call him Jushin Thunder Liger in the game, so they called him Abispa. Abispa. I don't know who came up with that, but Abispa. The Great Muta was Bad Blood. Gary Albright was Bare Breath. Bare Breath. Taka Michinoku was Black Belt. The Great Sasuke was Black Ninja. I'm going down the list. Kensuke, this is not complete list, but Kenzuki Sasaki was Bolt Jameson. Masahiro Chono was Chono. He was a WCW wrestler as well. Stan Hansen was the Count. Bruiser Brody was Grizz Lee. Kind of sounds like Lee. Hayabusa was Habanero. And it goes down the line. So this was a game for the hardcore WCW fans that loved Japanese wrestling, that loved the Japanese influence that was wrestling in WCW. And it was giving more exposure for little Japanese wrestling, the characters in the United States. A lot of these wrestlers, I didn't really pay much attention to in the 90s. And the video game was not that bad. But again, if you had a favorite promotion over the years, and that promotion had the capabilities of having a super show, one show, super show, that's a good thing. And what happened here with AEW and New Japan is a good thing. And I will say one last thing in closing with this, that I think it is very, very important. And I'm trying to look at this in a different way, because I know every podcaster and their mother has already talked about this. So I don't want to just repeat what they're saying, because yes, I could take the most successful podcasters out there, tune into their show during the day, take down the notes where everybody was like, yeah, man, that's spot on, point 100, and then I just repeat it and I come off as a genius. No, I try to take a different aspect. You know what's awesome about this too? That nobody that I saw brought up? The pay-per-view schedule. If you remember a week or two ago, somebody asked me the question, like, if I could change one thing with I still have the retro in my brain. With AEW, what would I change? I would add more pay-per-views. Because I think the problem with TV is that when the pay-per-views are 3 months apart, you can't drag out a storyline for 3 months. You might be able to get away with it with one or two people, but it's difficult to take all your big storylines. So you have to make little sub-storylines that just try to eat up the time. So when you see matches being put together for no storyline, no background, no reason or rhyme attached to it, if they were doing a pay-per-view every month, or every 6 weeks. Every 6 weeks is good too, because when you realize it, that means it's 2 pay-per-view every 3 months. You don't have to have one every single month. That might be overkill, especially since they charge you a lot more money. But if you have 2 pay-per-views every 3 months, now some of the fantasy matches that you do see on TV, you can build it a little bit and go to pay-per-view. So this 3-month gap hurts them in a lot of ways. Double or Nothing is May 29th. After that, the next pay-per-view after it is not until AEW All Out, which is September 4th. You're talking three months, almost 3 months in a week, 13 weeks apart. So you take Forbidden Door and you throw it in there a month after Double or Nothing. You can build a little storyline of maybe AEW versus New Japan. You can have some people invading in those 2 or 3 weeks leading up to Forbidden Door. And it doesn't lead to nowhere. It doesn't lead to a Rampage match. So this pay-per-view, now you got 2 within a month of each other, pretty much a month apart. So this, I guarantee you, even if you're not a fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling, expect to see some invasion angles going down between the end of May and the end of June. And that's a good thing. So you add in an extra super show here and there, now you can start intensifying and having some good storylines that lead to a payday. So I think that's a very good thing. Very good thing. I can't say anything bad about it whatsoever. Now, I'm not going to spend any time reviewing Dynamite or NXT. I will give you some of the match results and a couple of other tidbits. CM Punk over Dustin Rhodes, which went almost 20 minutes, which was a lot. Next week, we're probably going to see something with either the Dark Order versus the Undisputed Elite, because they had a promo that they're a little frustrated that they're haven't been on the winning streak, even though Kyle O'Reilly advanced to the Owen Hart, tournament, defeating Jungle Boy. But they're like, oh, next week we should have a 10-man Undisputed Elite Open Challenge. So what does that mean? You're going to get either Dark Order members, or you're going to get 5 people that probably shouldn't be on TV, and they'll win, and it'll be a squash. Maybe it's all the members are best friends. Maybe it's Roppongi Vice. Maybe it's I don't give a shit. Not saying that it's going to be bad, but you could see exactly where that's going. They announced the Super Show with New Japan. You had Hook beating Anthony Henry, and I'm pretty surprised how few reviews that is getting on YouTube right now when you look at the other items. Sammy Guevara nailing the coffin shut. Not the coffin match, but the heel turn. You know, it's funny, almost 7 weeks ago when Ty Conti took her account offline. I don't want to keep repeating myself, but I have to remind everyone. When Ty Conti took her social media offline 7 weeks ago, and then she came back on, and they started, be mad, be mad, be mad. And they were putting smiles on their faces. And they were still, showing love to their supporters. But also, oh, you don't like it? You're jealous? Be mad. And then it bled into the vlogs. And then you saw them posing at the beach. And then you see them posing in a different country. And then she's over his mom's house. And then he's over her mom's house. And then they're having dinner. And then they're taking the son. And I saw this 7 weeks ago, and I came up here. I said, oh, they're doing this slow burn to turning heel. Kind of like what a lot of people wanted to see with Brandy and Cody Rhodes. This is a young couple, and, people are bitter that Sammy Guevara broke up with someone because they would have rather him stay with his ex, even though they fell out of love with each other. But no. Ty Conti is a homewrecker. Honestly, a lot of people that said that, I would not want to be in a relationship with. Because people do fall out of love with each other. People do get engaged and still break up. We see it more than you realize. I said, oh, they're on the slow burn to turn heel. The more that they're having fun, it's like dropping salt on an open wound. And it was just anger and trolls. And she's like, why are people mad? We're happy. We're having fun. We love each other. We're a good couple. And then she's showing up on TV and her ass cheeks are sticking out. And she is all, around Sammy Guevara. And still people are like, she's not turning heel. They're not turning heel. No, Sammy's still over. No. A lot of wrestlers over the years were very heavily baby faces until the final day that they turned. And when he won the TNT championship, I showed you the banner last week. When AEW wrote and knew, instead of just showing Sammy holding up the title, they have him kissing Ty Conti. And still, people that have pretty smart brains like, oh, why are you saying that? There's still, he hasn't trashed the fans. Motherfucker, they've been trashing the fans online for 7 weeks. So now, with all due respect, for the idiots at home that haven't figured it out in the last 7 weeks, oh, I got to go out on Dynamite and say, you all turned your back on me. He had to spell it out on Dynamite yesterday, and I loved every minute of it. I am enjoying this because it was a slow burn, and a lot of people did not see it coming. Pretty wild, but I'm enjoying it. Blue, I'm good. Everything's cool in the gang. No issues. Life goes on. It's all good. So Sammy and Ty officially, for people that didn't figure it out beforehand, they turned. Britt Baker over Danielle Camella. No disrespect to Danielle Camella, but why was she in a qualifying match to qualify for the Owen Hart tournament? You got so many other women that should be qualifying for this. I just thought that was ridiculous. Darby Allin over Andrade in the coffin match. Now, next week, this is going to be fun. These two guys, Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, are going to wrestle each other to see who qualifies in the Owen Hart tournament. Now, for me, Dax Harwood is going to get the win. But, this is going to be scientific. This is going to be very, very even. No split. Some people think, oh my God, are they going to split? No, they're not splitting. Do not worry, everyone. But, and next, actually, I think it's Friday on Rampage. Adam Cole versus Tomohiro Ishii. And I did read the spoilers already, so I'm not going to reveal what's going down. But again, people need to understand. When you see Ring of Honor wrestlers and their numbers go down, or they don't get much of a reaction, or you see New Japan wrestlers on AEW TV and they don't get much of a reaction, or if the number goes down, that's only because they have very limited exposure to the regular main wrestling fans. That's just the reason. So, anybody expects these gigantic, unbelievable reactions, you will hear them at the Super Show, but, they understand that some of these wrestlers that are going to appear on mainstream TV for AEW, they're not household names. Even if you heard of them, and even if AEW or Tony Khan or anyone else tries to paint you, how could you not know this person's history? You're not required. You're not required to watch New Japan to be an AEW fan. You're not required to get study. You're not required to watch. You're allowed to enjoy people that you never ever saw before. You're allowed to enjoy wrestlers that maybe you didn't watch 5 years ago. Maybe you didn't watch 15 years ago. And that's why I say, best thing for you to do, turn off social media while you're watching this stuff. And if you have any questions, contact your friends directly, because there'll always be a jackass online that will try to school you. How do you not know this? And they'll just embarrass you. Not worth it. Friday also, Jade Cargill versus Marina Shafir for the TBS title. Eddie Kingston versus Daniel Garcia. Everybody is banned from ringside. Lance Archer versus Serpentico, and it appears that Lance Archer will be fed to Wardlow. If you saw Dynamite, you know what I'm talking about. And then Tony Schiavone will be interviewing Keith Lee, Swerve Strickland, Jamie Hayter, Tony Storm, and Britt Baker. So that's what we have for Friday. Battle of the Belts did 527. I don't know if I had mentioned it earlier. And let me tell you something else that was pretty cool. I thought this was cool. I probably would have had a ball yesterday doing this. They announced the title of their upcoming video game, and it's called AEW Fight Forever. And I like it. I really like it, because I could see in the video game, and they have a setting that if your match goes more than like 15 minutes, that the setting that the crowd starts chanting, fight forever, fight. That's got to be a setting in that video game. Once it goes a certain time, you throw that out there. You don't want to do it 2 minutes in. You're having a 2-minute match, especially if you choose Wardlow and it's a powerbomb party. And then all of a sudden the fans are like, fight forever. Doesn't have the same. But what they did yesterday was Adam Cole, Hangman Page, and I think Tony Khan, they led the fans to doing a whole bunch of cheers, and they recorded the audio for the video game. So I don't know exactly what cheers they did last night. I don't know if they did, you fucked up, you fucked up, but I'm sure they did Fight Forever. I'm sure they did This Is Awesome, the usual ones. But I think that's fun. I think that's fun to get the whole crowd like, hey, we're going to record some audio now for the video game. I want you to be loud because you will be representing the video game. So that's pretty cool. I like that. NXT, we had Tiffany Stratton over Saray, Grayson Waller over Senga, Legado del Fantasma over Drake and Gibson, Carmelo Hayes over Santos Escobar, and Tony D'Angelo. I talked about this on Patreon Tuesday night. Tony D'Angelo now has a little bit of an entourage, which I like. That's going to obviously help with the feud with Legado del Fantasma. You will see 3-on-3 matches happen. Tony D'Angelo left a dead fish, but I found it funny that they put the, like the parking ticket donut on his SUV. For anybody that's never seen that was put on the wheel. Here in New York, if you don't pay your parking tickets and you go over a certain amount, I think it's $350 that you owe past due, that what they will do is they call it a boot. And the parking officers will go up to your car while it's parked, doesn't matter where it is, and they put this big yellow boot on your tire. And then you can't take it off. And what ends up happening is you have to pay whatever you owe. You have to pay for the boot. And then they give you a code that you type in and it pops off the car. But then you have to return the boot. Because in the past, they would tow your vehicle. And they tow your vehicle, and that still happens when you're over a certain amount, even more. But let me tell you something. I swear on Jesus Christ. I swear on God, this is not a lie. Since I'm an insurance guy over the years, I have seen some horrible, extreme examples of boots being put on cars. About 10 years ago, I had a 90-something-year-old customer in my office making a payment for, I think, his house insurance. And he had his car parked down the block by a parking meter. And I did not know at the time, but he was in judgment for a lot of parking tickets. He left my office. And then about 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, he comes back in my office in tears. He says they put a boot on my car. His vehicle was parked at a parking meter, and a parking person came by, zapped the plate, saw that it's in judgment, and put the boot on his car. He's like, how am I going to get home? I can't afford to pay. I helped him a little bit, but imagine somebody in their 90s who owes parking tickets, goes outside to drive home, and there's this big yellow boot on the car. So they can be really, really vicious with that stuff. But that's what that was on the vehicle. You would have thought that they would have slashed the tires. Because honestly, I could tell you, look, hey, New York, John Gotti, how you doing, everybody? I guarantee you that John Gotti back in the day and all the other guys in the neighborhood, and they wanted to, take care of somebody's vehicle. Hey, did you hear what Joey Semolina did? That motherfucker Joey Semolina, he slept with Johnny's wife. You know what I want you to do? I want you to go to Joey Semolina's house in the middle of the night. And I want you to do something to his car. What do you want me to do? You want me to put a stick of dynamite in the tailpipe? You want me to break the windows? You want me to slash the tires? You want me to key up the paint? Nah, put a parking boot on the rim. You think they did that? Hey, Tony D'Angelo, no fucking Italian. Nobody puts parking boots on a vehicle. You break the windows, you slash the tires, you key it up. You use spray paint. You break the windshield. Don't put a parking boot. What do you think, Legado del Fantasma? Parking boot? Fuck out of here. I saw that, and I was like, who came up with that? You know who came up with that? Somebody that's not Italian. Somebody that's not Italian that thinks, hey, what could Tony D'Angelo do? Not only that, when you put a fish on the windshield, WWE, you don't put newspaper underneath it. I don't care if that vehicle's a rental. I don't care if it's an actual employee's truck. If you're going to put a dead fish on the windshield, you put the fish on the windshield with the gizzards, with the blood, with the juices, with everything. You let it soak all over the paint. You don't put it on the bags and newspapers. We want to display the fish, but we really don't want to affect the paint. No Italian does that. Tony D'Angelo is going to be aligned with pussies. Hey, when you put the dead fish on the windshield, make sure you put some papers underneath it. We don't want to screw up the paint. See, I want a little bit of, hey, Zollberg, man. Like I said earlier, no need everyone to throw any hate on Mish. What went down. He chose not to, respond to me on that Tuesday. So now it's done. It's over. Move on. I don't condone anybody ragging on anyone. We got to be better than that. There's a lot of trolls in here, and there's a lot of trolls online that are painting certain narratives because if they dislike me, they're going to convince the world that I did something tremendously wrong. I don't want to start to get into that game. So I'd rather just move on, have fun, and that's it. So, Pretty Deadly over Dexter Lumis and Duke Hudson to retain the NXT tag titles. Roxy, she made a debut beating JC Jane. A little bit of an upset. Natalya over Tatum Paxley. Keep Tatum Paxley's name on your radar. She is one that I think WWE is really going to do big for. Remember, not on the Carmelo Hayes level, The first day you saw Carmelo Hayes, I said, that guy, he's got it. Just let it develop. Not on that level, but Tatum Paxley's got something, I'm telling you. So that's going to be good. Now, their rating went down. They did 569, which is down from the week before 610. But they've been right around 6 to 660 in the ratings, which is fine for developmental and for what they're doing. And I like the segments where Joe Gacy gave the Hall of Fame ring back, and instead he traded it for a title shot against Bron Breakker. Bron Breakker accepts, but then he gets thrown off the side, and like druids or something try to I don't know what they were doing. It was a little goofy, but this is developmental, so you got to expect a little bit of goofy. So in 2 weeks, we have a NXT special edition called Spring Breakin', and it's going to be Bron Breakker versus Joe Gacy for the NXT Championship. Carmelo Hayes and Solo Sikoa. They will be part of a three-way trying to get the NXT North American Championship off of Cameron Grimes. So that's going to be some pretty good shit to look forward to. I'm telling you, if anybody was in the watch party the night that Pretty Deadly won the tag champs, I had that feeling. I said, oh, God, I think it's going to come down to them and the Creed brothers, and I wouldn't be surprised if they give it to Pretty Deadly. Old school La Resistance vibes. And no, not based on look or talent. Back in the day, they put the tag titles on La Resistance in an attempt to get them over. They weren't over yet. Usually you give the tag belts to people who are already over or who are deserving of them. They gave the belts to La Resistance at the time to try to get them over, and they did the same with Pretty Deadly. The thing is, though, is that Pretty Deadly was pretty damn good in NXT UK. So they come over with some talent. So that's going to be good. That's going to be good. All right. Are we done with news? I think we are done with news. Oh, let's show you one more thing. You remember the Vince McMahon shirts that they put on sale a couple of weeks ago? $1 billion asshole. And I don't remember the other one. I have two on order. It was supposed to be delivered yesterday. FedEx never delivered it. It was supposed to be delivered today, and FedEx never delivered it. Otherwise, I would be wearing one of those Vince McMahon shirts right now. However, I don't know if I'm going to get this one. So for any of you out there that might be interested, WWE put out a new shirt. I think this shirt was on sale last year. I don't know. It feels like I've seen this shirt before. Maybe it was a little different. Maybe it was part of that big package. What was it, like $1,000? You got an autograph and you got some other things with it. But they put this on sale. This is the front of the shirt. It is Vince McMahon with a whole bunch of poker chips. The front says, no chance. The back of the shirt says, no chance in hell, Vegas. And then you also get only one, everyone. Hopefully you have a good copy machine and you could copy it 100 times. I'm not going to tell you to sell it on eBay or anything like that. But if you want to make a whole stack of Vince McMahon $1 billion bills, you get the Vince McMahon $1 billion bill and you get the t-shirt for a whopping price of $99.99. Again, you get the front. That's the front. That's the back. That's the money. $99. I think that's very steep. Because normally that t-shirt would cost $25. You think they're making it with 24 karat gold stitching? That shirt would be normally $30. All right, $30 for this shirt. How much do you think a piece of paper to print up that bill costs? $1? So I understand it's limited edition. I understand anybody that owns a Vince McMahon shirt. This is not NFT shit. This is not like you walk around in a neighborhood, you go to an AEW, a WWE, an indie wrestling event, like, wow, fucking Vince McMahon shirt. Oh, wow. $99 WWE. Come on, man. You got a world of wrestling fans that actually do appreciate Vince, that do understand that Vince McMahon is, at the the 1 yard line, about to, score a touchdown to the pearly gates. And I've said this many times in my podcasting career that Vince McMahon is, other than my brother and my father, Vince McMahon is the third, longest man in my life. I mean, Vince McMahon has been in my life at some point since 1979. So you have a world of wrestling fans that probably would love to buy at least one Vince McMahon shirt. And you charge $99? That's bullshit, man. My honest opinion for anybody out there that wants to buy that shirt but does not want to pay $99, wait a month or two. I have a pretty good feeling you will see that go on sale for $49.99. And $50 is even kind of steep because that dollar bill is not autographed. It's not framed. It's a fucking piece of paper. I had the Shane McMahon money. I had the Bray Wyatt money somewhere around here. I had them. I looked at them. Like, it's a freaking piece of paper. That's, yeah. Look, as much as I'm appreciative of Vince McMahon, all right, I got to do at least once. No chance in hell that I'm spending $100 on a Vince McMahon shirt. No fucking way. I'm just closing a couple of windows here. Closing a couple of windows. For anybody that tuned in a little bit late today, yes, I told everybody earlier I was going to announce it one extra time tonight. Sometime in June, probably at the beginning of June, podcast Forbidden Door 3. And to me, if you compare it to WrestleManias, this would be the WrestleMania 3 of my podcast Forbidden Doors. For one night only, the Don Tony and Kevin Castle show returns. Yes, we will be doing an episode together, but that night we will have a third member. No, it will not be Viscera or Mabel. That anybody that knows why I said that, props to you. That night, joining us for a little while will be none other than Killer Kross. Killer Kross, friend of the family. I made an offer. He couldn't refuse. No, I didn't have to grease his palm. I didn't have to give him any money. He is coming on. Expect a memorable banger of a show. And no, Steph, you cannot be Mish's replacement. I am not having a co-host anymore. No, sirree. I will have guests on, guest co-host, that we will do a regular episode together. I will do that from time to time. But no, my days of co-hosting with someone else are done. Because, the two times that things ended the way they are, it was just really unnecessary how they went down. I mean, look, everybody cooler heads prevail. I was very, very upset Monday. I had a whole range of emotions from anger to sadness to disappointment to confusion. But like I said, the thing that upset me was that 9 times Tuesday night, I DM'd that guy. And I said, come on. I said, look, I made mistakes. You made mistakes. Let's talk. Let's stop the hate. I saw YouTube and I saw everybody saying what they're saying. I'm like, Mish, you're getting destroyed on YouTube. I'm getting destroyed on Discord. I said, nobody knows the actual truth. You have yet to ask me directly, what the issues are. Because I watched back the end of Monday's show and he said that he was leaving to focus on projects. Then he does his own podcast and it's completely different. Completely different. So I said, let's talk. And he's like, no, you refuse to let me do those last 2 weeks. Because my thinking on Friday is, this isn't a fucking office, a going away, sorry to see you go party. No phone calls in advance, no nothing. And then, like I said, I heard some of the things that he claimed is the reason why, and they're wrong. They're wrong. And all I wanted was 17-year fresh friendship. Talk to me. Talk to me. Let's go live. Let's talk about it. I'll say what I say. You say what you say. I apologize for what I did. If he's not obligated to apologize either. and we look out for each other in the future. We go our separate ways. Nope. So now everybody that hates me will come up with a conclusion. It's just like the Kevin Castle stuff. I still read to this day, oh, the reason why they split is because Kevin Castle didn't want to go video and DT did. And that's not true. Never was true. But you see, the thing is that in this case, we could have put it all out there. So if anybody said, well, what happened? Why did it? Oh, check out this episode. They discussed it. No, he refuses to call me. So what happens, a lot of trolls out there don't want us to talk because then they can convince themselves that I did this, this, and this. And it's just not true. And this is why after tonight, I'm not talking about it. But I ask you, please, don't throw shade to Mish. Don't throw shade to Joe Numbers. Don't throw shade to Kevin Castle. If you liked what we did and you like what they do, support them. Support them. You know, it just, hey, you know, people could support each other, but they just can't do business together. That's it. Let it go because I don't condone it. Some of you out there, I know your intentions are good, but some of you out there, some of the digs that you're throwing those guys, I'm not sitting here laughing. I'm sitting here saying that this is just fire continuing to build. I wanted to put that fire out Tuesday night, and unfortunately, it did not happen. So this is the last time you're going to hear me talk about this. I wish him well. I wish all of the guys well. You know, obviously, you know, the full story is never going to come out because now that time has passed. You know, it should have, the fire, the minute you see a fire, you try to put it out. You don't let it develop and spread and have everybody throw things on the fire to see it blow up. And then when everybody's like, okay, I had enough, you know, he's a little bit tired now. All right, now use to talk and straighten it out. No, I wanted that fire to be out immediately. And unfortunately, it was not. So now we have to move on. That's it. And that goes for other podcasters too. You know, I'm not here to throw shade. If I have a particular person that I have a problem with, I will tell you. But I hate when people assume, oh, he's taking shots at JD. You know, like the comment about, what do we talk about? Oh, with the Triple H stuff. There's 1,000 people out there with shows and blogs and stuff that said that WWE was erasing his legacy. There's a Triple H does an interview last week, and Triple H spells it out to everyone that they had to go back to being a wrestling school. That, you know, the COVID and fell in the trap and doing this and that and having the people and, you know, having indie guys and paying this and that. Everything that I said all along. And a lot of people went to that mountain and died on that mountain. And the only retaliation they have is Triple H is lying. Triple H is lying. I mean, listen, not one investor out there believes Triple H is lying. Not one person who works for WWE believes Triple H is lying. But because podcasters and bloggers and certain wrestling fans don't believe Triple H, that is the fact, no stockholders, no investors, no executives, nobody there, but because people that don't like WWE, that means it's true. So again, you know, just because I say, look, anybody that said that, it's ridiculous. Am I supposed to say, but this person I exempt because he's my friend. This person I leave out. No, I speak my mind. I give my opinions just like anyone else does. But then you get those people, oh, you're talking about Solomonster. You're talking about it. No, I'm fucking talking on behalf of me. So, all right. So now let's get into questions. Let's spend about a half an hour doing questions. And yes, as I said before, I opened up the chat room to everyone because I know it's the first show since Monday, and I'm sure some people had some questions. Hopefully that had nothing to do with Monday. But our channel members obviously get VIP treatment. And for anyone out there that is wondering who is a channel member, you will see next to their names, they are usually in green. That's usually how I could identify them. So when you see somebody in green, don't be mean, but I have to, let them in first. But that doesn't mean I won't answer anybody else's questions. But before I do that, this was sent in very, very early. This is from James Campbell. Who do I think will enter the Hall of Fame first, Triple H or The Rock? I think The Rock has to go into the Hall of Fame next year. In fact, The Rock going in the Hall of Fame could be ideal for the storyline. It could be ideal for the storyline because The Rock, because the impression is when you go into a Hall of Fame, you're past your prime. You're no longer fit to be in the ring. That's the aura of being a Hall of Famer. I mean, didn't Jerry Lawler in the past or someone else say, I don't want to go in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, I'm still wrestling. Because it's a perception. So I could see them announcing The Rock for the Hall of Fame next year very early, and Roman Reigns starts throwing little digs towards The Rock's way that he is, over the hill, and that could lead to something. So no, I say The Rock. Now, look, I understand DX is in the Hall of Fame and everything like that, but that doesn't. We're talking about individuals, singular wrestlers going in, but I think that's not even a question. I think you will see that person be The Rock to go into the Hall of Fame first. So now, again, I ask, just write the word question before, your comment. I'm trying to put them on the screen, but it's not as easy as you think because they fly by as far as online. So, okay, I got one right here. Here we go. Nate, is the references to pot with Riddle a sign of the times that WWE should follow and relax their wellness policy? Well, I got some news for you, Nate. Do you see this is still steaming? This is one of those self-heating mugs. You see the light on the bottom? My coffee is still like 145 degrees. It's been sitting here for a while. WWE has already relaxed marijuana to a certain extent. The sign of the times is that marijuana is now being legalized in almost every state. So if it is something that is accepted, they're not going to ban their wrestlers from taking it. But it's just like alcohol. You're allowed to have a drink after the show. You're not supposed to get behind the wheel, and you certainly are not supposed to have a couple of drinks right before you have your match. So the thing is that, wrestlers ultimately, look, 5 years from now, wrestlers across the board everywhere will be able to smoke weed. The thing is, though, is that the guideline will be you cannot smoke it within a certain time frame. Now, yes, of course, there's no way to tell, exactly when somebody smoked. You can't just go, you smoked. You can't do that. It's just like when someone has a drink. They could have popped the drink at the airport 2 hours before, an hour before, and you don't smell it. You don't see anything. Trust me, wrestlers drink right before a match, but you don't want someone, obviously, to really be under the influence because you're putting your opponent's life in your hands as well. And if you miss a step, that could be the difference of a good move and a serious injury. But yeah, no, it's the sign of the times. It is the sign of the times. Yes, Walter, I listen and I read the live chat. You don't have to pay lots of money. Nobody needs the super chat. In fact, the last two questions, they're not super chats. Kevon Lewis, do I think AEW can do a better job with their video game than TNA ever did? Yeah. First of all, look at the progress of video games, even in the last 5 years. Technology has changed. So, yeah, I mean, the problem that a lot of video games fall into, especially WWE, and I know every single one of you is going to agree with what I'm about to say, is that they try to put too many features in there. And then what ends up happening is at the expense of that, you lose somewhere else. There's only so much data that you could store in a video game. That's why if anybody knows about, back in the day with Atari and Sega, and you see like, Commodore 64 or Atari 5200, and you look at the chips and you see what you're allowed to store in there, there's limitations. And sometimes if you don't get crazy with extra bells and whistles, you could take that and focus on the gameplay a little bit more. So sometimes the better gameplay games out there are the ones that don't have like a trillion different things that you could do in the game. So no, AEW, if they keep it simple, good graphics, good gameplay, it's a little bit of realism to it, and you add some extra bells and whistles to create a wrestler gallery and stuff, they'll do just fine. They'll do just fine. Twix is asking, how high was Jeff Hardy versus Sting? Oh, he was under the influence. No question, he was under the influence. Near, am I going to have a solution for the internationals who want to join the watch parties but cannot connect to a TV provider? I can tell you 100% certainty that Playback is working on that. See, the thing is that you have to have access to your TV provider via the internet. Whoever your TV service is, hopefully they have a capability that their TV streams online. If anybody internationally has, their cable service or streaming service, and it is available online, DM me or email me, dontony@dontony.com. Let me know the TV provider. I will give it to Playback, and Playback will do their damnness to add them on. Absolutely. And look, as far as the watch party, let me say one other thing too, because somebody did this the other day, and he had a blast. If you can't see on the video screen the actual wrestling, if you have it on your TV at home, we're watching what you're watching. The world is watching. So you could still chat with us. You could still talk. You could still do everything. So as long as you have it on in your house, you could still be part of the watch party. The only thing is that you won't be able to see, the actual wrestling on the screen. But again, if you have it on, your provider has the capability of streaming online, let me know. Because believe it or not, I tell you, Playback, I've given a couple of ideas to them, and I know at least two of the ideas that I gave them, they are setting up. They are setting up. I came up with two, I don't want to say what they are, but I gave up two really good ideas, and they're going with it. So, yeah, I'll do whatever I can. Joanne, is Kevin coming back now to save face? Because I'm afraid of people picking on me, being a manipulative narcissist that needs someone to lord over. Well, I'm sure you can still hear this, even though I just shadow ban you, which means that you will never be able to post a comment again. And you could post in the video area 1,000 times. See, people don't realize when they're shadow banned, they post their comments and they laugh their asses off like, oh, I can't wait for DD's face to see it, and nobody sees it. The only person that sees it is you. And if you're not sure if you're shadow banned, write a whole bunch of stuff and let's see how many likes you get. And if you're always getting 0, chances are you're probably shadow banned. No, well, the stuff with Killer Kross and Kevin Castle being on, that was planned 2 weeks ago. I DM'd Killer Kross way before Monday. I know you want to have all the answers. I know people want to be cute with that stuff. And you know what? Just because I want to, and this will be the only time I do it, one excuse that somebody said, and everybody ran with it, is that, see, like I said, this is why I wanted to have Mish on. Talk to him directly. We're friends 17 years. Call me up. DT, I don't want to do the shows anymore. Call me up. Tell me why. He went, this is based on some of you out there. So Mish, if this is not true, I'm sorry. He went on his podcast with Kevin the other day and said, since I did not tell Mish beforehand about my business decisions, since I didn't let him in on it, he didn't tell me in advance that he was leaving. This is a screenshot from the contract I signed for one of the deals that I made. The contract I signed was for the Saturday show. That's what they signed for. The other shows, I don't get anything. They wanted Saturday show. That's why I always say it's the flagship show. It's not to throw shade on anybody else. That's who they signed the contract with. Now, I ask you, for the Saturday show, which is the Don Tony show, why do I need to tell anybody? Why do I need to tell anybody? When I announced last week that I got a video deal coming, I never told anybody what show it was. If he would have simply called me up, DT, what's up with all these deals and you don't tell me anything, I would have shown them the contract. I would have said, look, it's not about Monday. They want the Saturday show. That's why if you notice on my website, on my Facebook, on my Twitter, on BlueWire's website, on Playback's website, everything says the Don Tony show. And I realized the reason why I never said that publicly is because I didn't want anybody to say, oh, they didn't want Mish. That's not the case at all. Mish has an awesome deal with Spotify and iHeart and everything else. He's got his own deals. It's none of my business. The deal I inked is for my Saturday show. But why do I have to tell anybody that? If he thought that I was signing deals and trying to make money off of the stuff that would do money, why not just ask me? If he would have just simply picked up the phone and said, DT, what's going on? I would have said, oh, here, look. And that would have been the end of it. So again, this is why I don't want to co-host anymore. I want to just do my own thing. I want to follow the footsteps of a lot of other podcasters out there who do their own thing. I've had a few of them DM me in the last couple of days like, DT, do your own show. Don't get a co-host again. You're just going to ultimately have issues, especially if you want to go this way and people want to go this way or this way. I'm not saying that, anybody didn't want to go the same route. It's just, it's less headaches. And guess what? It's less headaches for Mish as well if I'm not doing this stuff with him. So, and look, it sucks, that it ended up that way. One of the other things was that when he could not appear on a Monday, that I came off, what's the phrase everybody's saying? Passive aggressive. That I was passive aggressive, which pissed off other people that throw shade at him. He should take that as a compliment. I don't intend on being passive aggressive. For me, it is a gigantic disappointment where I'm excited to do a co-hosted show and in an hour or two before showtime, DT, I can't make it. And everything that I planned and thought in my head, and like, oh, I can't wait to debate this and discuss this and see what he has to say about this. Everything's got to get thrown for a loop. So yeah, there's disappointment. But if anybody goes back, I always say the same thing. Look, everybody, don't get mad at him. Life gets in the way. Real life always takes precedent over everything else. But everybody leaves that part out. I always say, look, real life gets in the way. Last week, what did I say? I said, there's going to be times I'm going to have to take time off. Not yet, when I get closer to my wedding. But, it happens to everyone. Am I disappointed? Of course I am. Because I love debating the guy, discussing the guy. That's a compliment. I didn't give a shit that he was on. If he said to me, DT, I can't make it. You seen that GIF file of me? He wouldn't be able to see it in my house unless he's got security cameras hacked. But if I didn't want him on and he says, DT, I can't make it, I'd be home and be like, oh, Mish, all right, go have a good time. Yay, another solo show. If I didn't want him on, wouldn't I be happy if he took off? That's why, like I say, man, communication is always number one. No matter what it is, relationship, business, friendship, anything, it's always number one. VJ is asking me, do I feel Mish ripped me off? I owe that guy. I owe that man. That guy has done so much for me. I can't hate him. I can't dislike him. I don't want anybody to criticize the guy. I have said 1 trillion times on these shows, that man has done more for podcasters out there that you'll never know. That's not a kiss ass and that's not exaggeration. That guy has done more. Let me put it this way. This may catch on. Mish is the Mick Foley of podcasting. Mick Foley does so many good deeds that never get covered, that no one will ever know about. He does it because he cares. He looks out. He wants to help people. And that's what he does. If anything with Monday nights, if I look back on it, if there was one issue about Monday nights, probably the issue is that Mish is a leader. Mish is a main host. He leads. And that doesn't mean that a co-host is not a leader also, but when you have someone that leads the topics and you have someone else that leads the topics, there could be a clash there. What they say, for every yin there's a yang. But what happens when you have two yings? Can I do the Muttley laugh? Let me go back to smoking and I'll do it 10 times better. All right. How's about some wrestling questions, everybody? Come on. Let's finish up the next 10 minutes with some wrestling questions. Let's get in some good shit. If I were Vince, Vulture Talks, if I were Vince, what is my end game for the title unifications? Good question. I've touched on this before, but to summarize all the discussions we've all had, I never realized how horrible the women too, but I never realized how horrible the men's tag team division is right now. Outside of the Usos, and we don't want to go there with the New Day because I'm tired of the New Day versus the Usos, but outside of the Usos and the New Day and RK Bro, everybody is down here. I know Alpha Academy had a great run. I know Street Profits, a lot of people feel that they should get more. But I'm tired of seeing RK Bro versus Alpha Academy. I'm tired of seeing RK Bro versus the Street Profits. If they didn't unify the titles and the Street Profits were your next Raw Tag Team Champions, who are the Street Profits going to wrestle against? Alpha Academy and RK Bro. It's the go-to. They have great matches. They keep doing it over and over and over and over again. So unifying the titles right now, yeah, it reduces opportunity. Because if you only have one champion, that means there's one less championship that somebody could go for. It hurts the heavyweight division more than anything else. You think of Bobby Lashley, you think of Drew McIntyre, and you think of Brock Lesnar, you think of others. If one person holds two titles, a lot of those wrestlers, how are they going to break through and become heavyweight champion again? So for now, coming out of WrestleMania, they can get away with 3 months, 4 months with one champion representing both brands. I believe these unified championships will only last 3-4 months. I think by the fall, you will see the titles split again. You will see, I don't know if Roman loses both belts in the same night. I think Cody is a guarantee for Raw. SmackDown, a lot of people think Drew McIntyre. Maybe The Rock causes Roman to lose both belts. Maybe Brock causes Roman to lose both belts. But this is temporary. Anybody that thinks that there's not going to be two champions again for the foreseeable future, they're wrong. I'm telling you, my gut feeling is just opinion. By the fall, you will have two champions again, the tag team and heavyweight. What's the shirt I'm wearing, Rockstar Wolf? It is a shirt, New York, that has John Gotti on it. Look, I know he was a criminal and a murderer and everything like that, but, my family was friends with him. Victoria Gotti went to my wedding in 1999. I am friends with people. Most of the people I'm friends with now are not in the mob. So I wear it more for the character because I used to do the Don Tony stuff as the wrestling manager. So, no, I'm not celebrating evil. But that's why I wear the shirt. So Pat McGrath got Christmas cards. Oh, yeah, I remember that. Michael Gonzalez is Roman wrestling at Backlash. That's a good one. I brought it up last week. It's pretty interesting that they did not further the storyline with Shinsuke on Friday. Did Shinsuke have to enter COVID protocol? I don't know. But it's, especially with Backlash being what? 3 weeks? I think it's May 9th, 3 weeks. You would think you're not taking a week off. I know they wanted to focus a little bit more on the tag team situation. And I'm not thrilled about Nakamura versus Roman. They did that a year ago. And we know what the outcome is. Nakamura ain't beating Roman. But as of right now, there's no match announced. But I believe, especially that there's now only one champion, you got to put Roman versus Nakamura. Now you got to do it. You teased it. Now they got to do it. So I would think tomorrow on SmackDown, they got to announce that match. So, oh, you got your shirts, Rockstar Wolfie. Cool. Pro Wrestling Tees sometimes takes a little bit longer, but they are worth it. Arian, my thoughts on the Control Your Narrative new promotion. I'm going to give it a chance. I mean, look, I stay out of politics. I stay out of people's views on masks, vaccines, Democrat, Republican, which is wild because you all know 3 years ago, maybe even 2 years ago, I was still hardcore into politics to the point where a lot of you would complain, DT, please don't fucking talk about Trump or politics. I didn't vote for Trump in 2020. I don't care about politics anymore. I have realized, especially with COVID, I have realized that, there's so much bullshit going on in this world that as long as I focus around my inner circle, treat people that I get in contact with, treat them the way I want to be treated, stay out of trouble, have fun, live my life with my family, whatever years they are left on this earth, live my life with my fiance, get married. That's all I care about. Doing these shows is a release. It's fun hanging out with all of you. That's all I care about because I realize we could scream, we could, yell, and we can only control what's around us. So control your narrative. I know they get a lot of heat for some of their political views, if they're on the right, if they're on the left. Some don't believe in the vaccine. Some do this with the mask. I just look at the wrestling. And to me, everybody that I got in contact with liked when they were doing that Raw Underground stuff with Shane McMahon on Raw Underground. I felt like Control Your Narrative might have a little Raw Underground vibe to it. So I'm going to give it some time. And see what happens. So I really don't have anything negative to say about it, to be honest with you. If it's a little bit different and it entertains me, that's all I care about. All right. Why is every East Indian wrestler a heel and always uses a version of the camel clutch as a finisher? Well, I mean, the camel clutch, is legendary from the Iron Sheik and others. So, you do moves that kind of like are heel moves. I don't think anybody wants like Satnam Singh or the Great Khali or anybody to go, you can't see me, or, do like a drop kick finish. You got to do certain things. And let me tell you something also. Some moves are very easy to execute. And especially when you're 7 feet plus, it's not easy to move around as much as you think. So to be able to do a move where you're just sitting and it looks painful, yeah. You don't want to have someone do a move where they start bumbling around and fumbling, and especially because of the height difference as well. It's not easy. I mean, look, I'm not throwing any shade to her whatsoever. But look at legit Layla Hirsch. I am a big fan of her work. I don't need to defend myself here. But you watch sometimes when she wrestles a tall woman, I mean, it gets messy very quickly because some of those moves you cannot execute on somebody that much taller or smaller. I mean, you see it. It's a mess. It's a hot mess. So that's why you see certain moves that you do. It's more because of the height advantage. And look, as far as an India wrestler coming in, as far as a heel, it is what it is. It is what it is. I mean, sometimes it's easier to bring someone internationally in as a heel. If they're perceived to be from a different country, they don't adapt to the United States. That is a lot easier to develop a character than to have somebody, doing the opposite. So, Gruss, can I see Cody Rhodes forming his version of the Horsemen with FTR and MJF in WWE? Okay. For those that don't know, WWE recently has expressed interest in bringing FTR back. Again, check out the Triple H interview that just came out. Triple H says in that interview what I told you at least a half a dozen times on these shows. I said, WWE right now, for some wrestlers, are not going to invest the time to train and tweak. And, when you're paying them crazy amounts of money, you're going to pay premium money to bring someone in. They either have it already and you just adapt it to your style, or you don't do it at all. And Triple H in that interview said, look, there's going to be some people that we let go that we probably making a mistake, but there are some people that we're going to let go. Let them develop somewhere else. Let someone else train them and teach them, and then we bring them back. That's smart fucking business. And that's something we said on this show repeatedly. You're going to see people leave, like Wardlow and others. They're going to turn into big stars elsewhere. You saw it even with Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre, he was getting paid very comfortably back then, but it wasn't working. They didn't want to invest the time and the energy and the money to keep tweaking it. Let him go. Let him find himself. Let him repackage. Let him do this, and we'll bring him back. Killer Kross, I believe they will bring back Killer Kross. You look at Killer Kross, he's totally transformed himself. His look, his mindset, his attitude, his character, he's tweaked things. You think he all did that because he was bored? No, he turned around and he felt, okay, I need to start changing things around. And he's developing something where he feels that WWE, okay, they didn't spend the money to tweak him and mold him and try to experiment and change this and change this. Okay, well, let him go somewhere else. Let him find it. Let him change. And then we'll bring him back. So that's what they're doing with FTR. FTR said publicly, I don't remember which member said it, but they said, look, for the right money and the right circumstances, yeah, we'll go back to WWE. Listen, people got to stop. I'm not saying any of you out there, but I've said this before. People got to stop thinking that AEW is this tight-knit, gooey family that they would never go to the evil Vince McMahon. If WWE comes a calling and offers you crazy amount of money, chances are you're not going to say no. Some wrestlers may not want to work the WWE grind. Like I said, you look at Adam Cole in NXT, you look at Gargano, you look at others. A lot of those wrestlers were very content wrestling in Florida, period. Some of those wrestlers may not want the WWE grind of traveling all around the world and doing this, especially if you have children or if you have outside responsibilities. So some wrestlers don't want that WWE grind. Not every single person in AEW wants to sign with WWE, but I'm telling you, that's why the biggest mistake that these journalists and podcasts have done the last 3 years is not examined closely and discussed publicly what the AEW contracts entail. Because I will guarantee you this. Unless Tony Khan has no problem getting into a bidding war, WWE will always offer more money than Tony Khan. Because Tony Khan's contracts are a fraction of what WWE offers. That's why I'm sorry for bringing it up a third time. But when he made that remark that what company in their right mind would let somebody go like Swerve Strickland or Keith Lee? And that sounds great, and everybody let him get away with it. But people didn't stop to think that if they would have remained with WWE, they could only work WWE and nothing else. In AEW, okay, we're only going to give you a quarter of what you were making in WWE. But you could do your cameos. You could do your gaming. You could sell your merch here. You could do this. You could do that. You could wrestle elsewhere. You could do this. You could sell your gimmicks. Do whatever you want. Just as long as you're at our shows when we have them. Now you realize, okay, if somebody is really, really being used big time on the indie circuit, that money, or if they Twitch and game and they make some really nice coin on there, you add that with the AEW contract, hey, it's not so bad. I don't have to travel around the world. I'm getting a little bit less than what I was getting in WWE, but when you add it all together, I'm actually doing pretty good. That's why, again, the AEW contracts, they might be on 4 pieces of paper, and WWE's might be 10 or 20. So that's why, like I say, a lot of people out there, their careless mistake is not educating you all about the AEW contracts the last couple of years. So if WWE wants someone, not everybody's going to say yes, but if they really want someone, they're a billion-dollar company, and they could move things around, and they could release 5 people. A lot of people were joking like WWE let go 60 people to get Cody in return. I wouldn't go to that extent, but yeah, they can release 5 people that they really are not using all that much and bring in 1 person instead, and it balances out. So you're going to see people leave AEW for WWE, and you will see people leave WWE for AEW. But people got to stop thinking that, oh, this person would never leave AEW. Because I guarantee you, Cody Rhodes was not on anybody's list to leave before his contract expired. All right, we're going to wrap this up in 6 minutes because we are going a little over time. So it's okay. VJ, do I think WWE will bring back Matt Cardona? Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. Be really interesting to see if they brought him in, using his attitude now, or if they would try to bring him back like he was before. My gut feeling is if he's brought back, he would be the current Matt Cardona. Obviously not hardcore. They're not going to go hardcore, but they're not going to call him Matt Cardona. Chances are they're going to go back to the Zack Ryder name, because what people need to understand, like Casey Cananzaro, they just changed her name. They're changing some other women's and men's. Member Legado of Fantasma, they changed his name. WWE does not want to use real names for wrestlers anymore. They want their intellectual property. And, I've seen people make the argument, people like work their entire career under a particular name, and why can't they keep their real name and this and that? Well, I've seen multiple people bring up this argument. Why do movies, why do they not use the actual actors and actresses' names? TV shows, why do they not use the actors and actresses' names? Because they're creating a character that identifies with their TV show, identifies with their movies. Very, very rare. Outside of Jerry Seinfeld, which is the exception, but Jerry Seinfeld produces his own shit. So that's why they create their own character names. Identifies, and look, with a lot of wrestlers, they leave, and their WWF names are still what everybody calls them. They don't use their other names. I use Brutus Beefcake as an example. I think Brutus Beefcake prefers everybody calls him Brutus Beefcake, but they don't use any other name. He's identified, with his wrestling name. So that's why they do it. Did I read your comment, Soulfly, about me getting a mention on my opinion about the Liv Morgan situation? Who mentioned me, Soulfly? I'm curious. I'm not going to lie. There were hundreds of comments that came in the last couple of days. I have gone through a lot of them. I've tried to answer the ones that are not controversial, but I'm curious what podcasters did. Because look, I was trying to, I'm glad that nobody got offended for my impersonations of the Indian Target gift card scammers. It's not about religion or race or anything like that. It's just that the Target gift card scam is based in Calcutta, India. If they did it in the United States and got caught, they go to jail for 20 years, 10 years at least. So the fact that, these are scams outside, when Liv posted that, if any of you out there didn't see the clip, when I go like this, check out on replay, click it and see what I said about Liv Morgan. When she claimed that a fan sold his house because he thought he was helping Liv Morgan, immediately you think it's the Seth Rollins situation, but nobody out there took the side that I did. And I said, I don't think a fan sold his house. I think somebody told Liv that they sold their house thinking they were helping her, but they were helping a scammer. And she's going to feel guilty. Oh, how can I help you? I got to get a lawyer. I got to try to get my house back. Well, what can I do? Give me $100 gift card. Give me Target gift card. Why did not any news organization pick up on this? People forget that a lot of news organizations picked up on the Seth Rollins situation before the guy punched him out or tackled him or whatever you want to call it. So if all the news organizations found it interesting enough to talk about a fan who was scammed out of hundreds for Seth Rollins, why would no news organization touch that somebody sold their house and their life saving? I smelled bullshit from the beginning. So, Bill Batty did? Oh, cool. Big shout out to Bill Batty. I like Bill Batty. I know I don't shout out as many shows as I should. But yeah, no, Bill Batty's good people, man. Most of the guys that are involved with Conan stuff, not just because of the past, but they're good people. Hugh Easy's good. I love Disco Inferno. I know he pisses a lot of people off, but I don't agree with some of the political stuff. But Paul Ron. DT has to get bipolar medicine. Damn. I blame it on my bipolar that I just shadow banned you. So sorry, man. Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. There's always going to be haters. It's always going to be. No, I won't block Ken. Ken is good people. Ken is good people. But yeah, no. I think Liv Morgan is the one they tried to scam. Again, no news organization picks up on it. There's no known police report. I checked all the multiple states. I mean, I didn't see anything about someone selling their house. There'd be something written, nothing. I think that person, because that's what they do. Oh my God, I made a mistake. I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to lose everything. I lost everything. What can I do to help? Give me gift card. Wire me Western Union money so I could go to the title company and get a title lawyer. Well, let me get the lawyer for you. No. Send me the money. Western Union. Send it in little $1 bills to California. It's Target gift card scam. People have been scammed that way too. They claim that something happened to them. You feel sorry for them, and you offer to help, and then that's where they try to get you for money. I'm telling you. You notice how that story never went anywhere? Never went anywhere. Did anybody ever meet the person that sold this house? Oh, maybe he's embarrassed. He doesn't want to reveal himself. I think Liv Morgan was the target of that scam. My thoughts on the Mike Tyson situation. Look, I've been offered to interview Mike Tyson about the weed that he's going to be selling, the CBD, whatever it is. I got emailed twice. Would you want to interview Mike Tyson? And I was like, no, because I don't know how the interview would go. I think I would gush too much. I loved Mike Tyson in the 80s. Well, you can't really see it, but I still got a picture to the left of Piper of Mike Tyson. But Yeah, for those that don't know, Mike Tyson was on a plane. Some asshole, like guy in his 20s behind him kept insulting him, saying a lot of shit. And Mike Tyson just punched him in the face. It's funny how Mike Tyson didn't get arrested over it. I mean, the guy deserved to get hit in the face. That doesn't mean that Mike Tyson's allowed to bloody somebody up. Yeah, I would never cross Mike Tyson. Soulfly says I should have Mike Tyson on just for clout. I don't want the clout. I just want to do my thing and have fun. The one thing that gets me so ticked is when people are like, oh, DT, you're not the DT that I knew back in the day. Of course not. I'm in my 50s now. I had 2 cancer risks. Now I might have it for real. I'm getting married in September. I got 2, parents in poor health. What? I'm supposed to do shits and giggles from 20 years ago or have a different attitude? You change. That doesn't mean I'm a better person now. I might have been a better person back then. But I hate when people are like, oh, this is not the DT that I know for 20 years ago. It shouldn't. It shouldn't. I mean, I have changed in a lot of ways. There's no question. But, people got to get with the program. Daniel San, there is no controversy to discuss. It's over. It's done with. We move on. And again, if you should check out the beginning of the show because I did make a pretty cool announcement. So, all right, we're going to wrap this up. I think it's time to go. I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. Had a blast. Great convo. Great questions. I know a majority of them are from our YouTube channel members, but this is what Thursdays usually are. I opened the chat for everybody so everybody could hang out and talk. I know there's a lot you wanted to get off your chest, and I think we got into everything we needed to. Blue, I don't really watch movies. I like watching documentaries. I like binge watching like a lot of like crazy shit that's happened in the past. Lately, I've been watching a channel called Fascinating Horror. Fascinating Horror. Go on YouTube and search it. They're like 10-minute episodes talking about shit that's crazy shit that's happened in the past. Some of it is well known, some of it's not. I like watching like documentary shit and everything. Bra and Panties match will definitely happen again, but it will not happen in WWE. Will not happen in WWE. Yeah, no, there is a lot of very awesome people in this community here, and we are a tight-knit family. That's why, like I say, when I ask, please don't throw shade towards others. Not trying to make anybody PC or rated G or anything like that. It's just, let's use that energy and make this shit blow up even bigger and better. That's what it's all about. I don't want, the bullshit, if others want to do it, let them. But I do not condone that. And, it's a shame that you don't hear other people doing that as well. And I'm not talking about myths. I'm just saying in general. You'll see a lot of people out there that just welcome it. Welcome that negativity. I don't want it here. I want everybody to have fun, laugh. I'll leave you with this. There is a certain female that has been tuning into my stuff probably for 15 plus years. And she's always been cool with me. She's been in this chat room too. And I actually saw her right the other day when people were crucifying me on a different network. She actually wrote that I stopped listening to DT when DT defended Tammy after she murdered someone, killed someone with her car. I thought about everything I said. There was nothing where I defended her. I just I'm like, okay, that's new to me. Why? Because, I don't say when the news first comes out, then I don't say she fucking that motherfucker. She ran somebody over. She's pissed drunk and this and that. No, I'm not getting fucking sued. I'm not going to get a lawyer letter that I'm making accusations about something before facts come out. No, I'm not going to be careless like that. I'm going to tell you what I know. I'm going to tell you the facts that came out. And I said, if more comes out, then I will rip the shit out of her. And I said earlier this week on Monday, I said, she's done. She's done. What do you want me to say? She's so fucked up that she might as well just end it all. Because what people want me to say? That's the climate that people have. Strange, weird. Did not defend. When that happened, I said, if it comes out that she drank, that's it. She's history. 10, 20 years in jail, minimum. How the fuck is that defending her? But this is what you got to deal with when you do stuff. So I'm all good, John. I'm all good. For me, it's water off a duck's back. You know, I don't have the time. I don't have the strength. I don't have the patience to get bogged down with that stuff. I may open my mouth once in a while and say something, and later on I'll be like, I probably shouldn't have said that. But no, it's like there's so many things going on. That's why it was so ridiculous the other day. I had to record 1 minute of video from my office to remind people I got a fucking office to run. I'm not like others that could sit on Twitter 9 hours during the daytime and tweet all day long. Or I would love to do shows during the day. I can't. I have an office to run. I think a lot of people forget that too. You know, so when you have all these things going on, you think I wanted what happened? No. I want to move on as quickly as possible. And that's not to throw shade on anybody else. That's just, I can't get bogged down with that. So yeah, Psycho, he's right. I want to get the facts first. Just because I don't say that, fucking stupid cunt, the fuck is wrong with you? You got 8 chances and you fucking blew it every time. You deserve to rot in prison, you stupid fucking dumb bitch. That what people want? No, I don't. No, that's not what. And just because I don't do that doesn't mean I'm defending someone. That was ridiculous. So, all right, everybody, I'm out of here. Now, this Saturday, I will be here for the Don Tony show. I already have a few interesting topics that we're going to get into. We will definitely cover everything that goes down between now and Saturday too. And it's going to be a really, really strong show. And I promise you there will be no drama. So what we talked about tonight, I know this was the first show outside of Patreon since Monday. So obviously I was going to say something, but I didn't say anything tonight. Controversial. So, we move on and we have fun, just like everybody else should as well. And you all have a nice weekend. Stay safe, be well. And, hope to see you Saturday night. I'll be here at 8:05 p.m. Eastern and hope you could join me. So John says everybody thinks I'm making thousands on YouTube. Most months I make 3 digits. 3 digits. That's the God honest truth. You ask any other podcaster on there, they'll tell you the same. Trust me, some people who are now venturing into YouTube are realizing that when I say like tonight's episode, I'll make $3, $4, I'm not kidding. I mean, and plus, if you notice, I don't shower the shows with a lot of ads. There'll be an ad in the beginning and there'll be an ad at the end. I rarely put ads in the middle. I did early on. But then when I realized, wait a minute, I'm putting ads every 20 minutes and I'm getting $6. Do I take the $6 or do I make 2 and have people happier? That was one of my decisions. I got rid of all the commercials pretty much in the middle because I didn't want people pissed off. I didn't want people to be like, oh, because look, I love Conrad. But I can't watch any of Conrad's YouTube clips. I'm watching Conrad. He'll be talking to Ric Flair. Hey, Rick, what do you have to say about WrestleMania 38? Well, Conrad, hey, everybody, if you need a loan, go check out my mortgage. Blah, 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 blah. And then after 30 seconds, Ric Flair will go back. Oh, I thought WrestleMania 38 was Save with Conrad. Every fucking 2 minutes. Jim Cornette, at least he's funny. Jim Cornette, he talks about lawyers. He talks about Magic Spoon. He talks about soap for your nuts. But he's funny about it. But with Conrad, you go on YouTube. I swear to God, every couple of minutes, save with Conrad, save with Kai. He's a hustler, but I envy him. I like Conrad. I am going to ask Conrad to come on one day. Yes, Conrad, I'm going to ask him to come on. I hope he accepts, because I've always taken the side of Conrad. Maybe some of what he does, might be really borderline, it may be tasteless to some. I'm not denying that, but he works his ass off. But those commercials, yeah, Stephen P. New. I wish I could use Stephen P. New for something, but yeah, it's it is what it is. So I like those guys. There's a lot. You know what's interesting? Online, when it comes to podcasters, outside of Brad Shepard, I don't think there's anybody that I dislike. I'm dead serious. Brad Shepard is the only person, I think, out of everybody that I can't get into him. I just can't. Maybe one day, I'll feel otherwise. And I'm not trying to say any shit about the guy. Nah. But everyone else, I'm like, you know what? Everybody's trying to work hard. But, I'm not going to feel guilty for trying to grow. I got a wedding to pay off more than anything else. I have, how much money I've asked my parents for my wedding? $0. You know how much money I've asked her parents for? $0. I'm trying to pay off a wedding, and yeah, I'm working extra overtime, to do that. And I've been very blessed to get some cool deals along the way. Deals that I wish I would have gotten 10 years ago. Didn't happen for whatever reasons, but, I can control my narrative going forward. And, people out there that are going to diss that and, oh, I forgot where I came from. What the fuck does that mean? I forgot where I came from. What does that mean? That every time I sign a deal, I'd like to thank Joey 924, Black Moses, Matt Zombie, Brian Damage, Kevin Castle, Keith Blackheart, Timmy Arson, God rest his soul, Anthony Missionary Thomas. Like, what do you mean I forgot where I came from? I'm supposed to do a press release every time? I'd like to thank Dave the Genetic Freak. If it wasn't for that asshole, I wouldn't have come up with the phrase blah, 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 blah. Seriously. That's why when shit like that goes down, I say to myself, man, I should just do my own thing. I have crazy memory like Cornette. I take Prevagen. I'm not kidding. That shit works. I make no money by saying this. If you have issues like with your memory, like you can't remember stuff from 20 years ago, and look, there are things that I don't remember. I told you the craziest thing. I'll leave you with this because a lot of people like Growing Up Don Tony. We're an hour and 58, so I'll finish the last 2 minutes with this. Growing Up Don Tony. I had my car accident in 1996. For about 6 months, leading to a year before my car accident, for about 6 months, I was dating some girl. And I had my car accident in 96. And about 15 years ago, I went and I played poker by a friend's house that I had not seen in a long time. And while he was there, some blonde chick comes up to me. And she's like, oh my God, I haven't seen you. You look great. This and that. So 15 years ago, it was around 2007. I had my car accident in 1996. So it was about 11 years after my car accident. So she's like, oh my God, you look great. This and that. I'm like, thank you. And somebody said to me like, wow, that was cold. I'm like, what do you mean that was cold? I'm like, that's what you say to your ex-girlfriend? I'm like, who is she? And they're like, that's Lisa. I'm like, Lisa who? They're like, come on, man. You didn't fuck up your head in this car accident, did you? And I'm like, no, I don't remember. He's like, you don't remember the time we had the Blue Whale party and we're sitting on the stoop and this and that and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, I don't remember. I swear to God, I will never do another show. I do not remember dating this girl for 6 months. This didn't happen when I was 9 in the 70s. This supposedly happened in 1996. I can't remember it. They're like, you don't remember going to the club? You don't remember hanging out with her and this and that? No, I don't remember. I swear on God, I will bring personal friends on this show that don't follow wrestling and they will tell you, oh my God, yeah. He made this girl cry. She had no interest in hooking up with me again, but she got so upset because I said, I don't know you. She's like, I dated you for 6 months. I'm like, I don't know you. I swear to God, I can't remember. People are convincing me that I dated this girl. So there's a case where, now maybe Prevagen one day, maybe one day I'll be asleep and I'll be like, holy shit, I did date her. It has not happened yet. But I will tell you, the Prevagen stuff helps me with the wrestling stuff here. I kid you not. Because I don't have to look up stuff. With encyclopedia stuff and everything like that, I don't have to reference. So if I bring up something, you know, like I could go back 25, 30 years and I'm like, yeah, I remember this and I remember this and I remember this. Oh, here's a good one. Remember on Monday, I said that Saturday night's main event, when it was on Fox 5, I said, I think it happened in the early 90s because I remember something with Married with Children. Remember that on Monday? I said, yeah, there's some tie with Married with Children somewhere. Lo and behold, on Tuesday, somebody DM'd me and they said, DT, this is what you were talking about. Al Bundy cut a promo for Saturday night's main event. Now, I haven't watched that promo since 1992. I haven't thought about it since 1992. But when we were talking about Saturday night's main event being on Fox 5, well, here, Channel 5 here in New York, but Fox, I said, I remember a Married with Children tie to it somewhere. I didn't think Kelly Bundy wrestled Trish or anything like that, even though I think we probably would have liked that. I remember something. Sure enough, somebody's like, oh, yeah, Al Bundy cut a promo. So I'm telling you, that's Prevagen shit. How I remembered that, I will never know. I will never know. So, yeah, if you want to like boost your memory, take 20 milligrams of Prevagen every day. It'll take a couple of months, but I promise you, you'll start like bringing up stuff and you'll be like, holy shit, how did I remember that? Yeah. All right, everybody, have a great night. All the best. I hope to see you Saturday and you all stay safe. Ciao.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a podcaster. For me to live any other way was nuts. To me, those goody-good people who worked shitty jobs for bum paychecks and took the subway to work every day and worried about their bills were dead. I mean, they were suckers. They had no balls. If I wanted something, I just took it. I ran everything. I paid the bills. I paid the host. I even paid the masked maniac. Everybody had their hands out. Everything was for the taking. We always called each other good fellas. You would always hear from somebody. You're gonna like Don Tony. He's alright. He's a good fella. He's one of us. But if you're part of my crew, nobody ever tells you they're gonna get rid of you. It doesn't happen that way. There weren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. See, your haters come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who've claimed they care the most for your life. And now that's all over. And that's the best part. Today everything is different. There's lots of action. I don't have to wait around for everything like everyone else. Oh, I didn't get the vaccine? Fuck you, vaccine me.
Austin Theory. We'll expand on that Saturday night.
Oh, your delivery guy has COVID?
Fuck you, feed me.
Right after I moved here, I ordered egg noodles and ketchup, and I got spaghetti with meat sauce. I'm no longer an average nobody, while they get to live the rest of their lives like a bunch of schnooks.